Welcome to Podcasting for Latina CEOs, the go-to podcast for passionpreneurs Latinas ready to launch and grow their online businesses and own their voice with podcasting. I'm Heidy de la Cruz, writer, two-time award-winning podcaster, and podcast launch coach on a mission to help you build a life of freedom, wealth, and impact by turning your ideas into income. If you're a Latina ready to break generational cycles and create your own table, this show is for you. Let's build our dreams juntas. Con amor, Coach Heidy. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Podcasting for Latina CEOs. I am your host and your coach, Heidy de la Cruz. And today I want to give you an update on ranking on Google for SEO. So if you go back and listen to episode 7, where I talk about digital marketing and I talk about what is SEO and how to rank your blog on Google, it talks about how to format your blog, what actually you need, the platforms that you can use to start a blog. And just recently I had someone actually reach out and ask me, because they listened to the episode and they were like, hey, which platform do you recommend? Easy to start, right? And I said Squarespace. That is where I host my podcast coaching, or coachheidi.com with Squarespace, and I find it so easy to use. So that's the one that I recommend. WordPress is like the most popular one, but honestly, there's such a learning curve with it. But anyways, this episode is actually to add to the SEO information that I have learned recently, because AI, not that it's changed how things are ranking on Google, but it has changed a little bit on how things are found, or what exactly AI is looking for on your website to recommend it when people are searching either on Google or now when they are searching on AI platforms or tools, right? So for example, I've had a few people reach out to me saying that they found my podcast through AI. So either ChatGPT, Claude, or Pilot, I believe is the other one that I saw that people were my AI was recommending my podcast, the immigration one, the American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants, because that's exactly what they were looking for, right? They were looking for a podcast about immigrant stories, and that is literally what the podcast is about. So there are certain things that your website needs in your blogs so that AI will recommend, right, your platform to, whatever keyword or whatever it is that they're searching for. So these are new things that I have recently learned because, this online business thing, whether it's podcasting, whether it's blogging, whether it's content creation, things are always changing and we're learning new things and we are trying things and we're adapting. So I want to give you guys an update on SEO, on the things that I have learned so that you can also implement them yourself for your blog, your podcast, your website. Because if you are turning your podcast episodes into blog posts, then this is very relevant to you, right? This is information that you need as well. And I do highly recommend that you do turn your podcast episodes into blog posts because, again, it's all part of your ecosystem, and it just expands your reach and your searchability in the online space. So I was actually able to hire a SEO specialist. So I have someone on my team who helps me write blogs for my website, actually HeidyDeLaCruz.com. So remember, I have 2 websites because I'm crazy like that. And also because I have 2 podcasts, right? And so she helps me write podcasting blog posts on HeidyDeLaCruz.com. And so I've learned a lot from her. And also, I follow different SEO strategists online and things like that. So they've also been posting about the new changes with AI and all of that. So this is what I have found. So if you are wanting for the AI tools to recommend your website or your services or your blog posts, there's additional things that we need to make sure that we are including in our website and our blog post. So first, make sure that you are adding testimonials or case studies to your website and blog posts. So, like client testimonials, clients' case studies, like write a blog post that goes through the whole customer journey, like how they found you, what the funnel that they went through, and the discovery call, and then the signing the contract, and like the whole process from start to finish. Like, take the person through or write the blog taking the going through the customer journey and then also the transformation, right? Showing real data, real results that happened. So let's say, for example, I had a client who launched and had over 100 downloads, episode one, right? Like, that is a real testimonial results, case study results that I can share on my website, right? So make sure that you are adding that into your blogs and on your website, making sure that that is on there. I actually have a blog post coming out about the four options of services that I have to help you launch a podcast. Right. So there is the one-on-one 6-week coaching with me. There is the workbook. There is the VIP podcast launch day, and then there's the course, right? Those are the four options. And there, also actually I have five, right? Strategy call, 1 hour strategy call. So I wrote a blog post about each of the options, and I am going to include a testimonial that I had from a client for a client that went through that specific option to make sure that, I'm adding those testimonials. I am including those customer journeys in my website and in my blog post. Okay, next we have making sure we are adding frequently asked questions at the end of the blog post. So one of the things that my SEO specialist has been doing for when she's optimizing the blog post is adding frequently asked questions and then answering them, right? So that way, you know how, like, when you are looking on Google for a question, or you ask a question on Google, and then and then it has also suggestions of like other people search for or whatever. So it's kind of like that. So it's like, okay, if someone's searching like how to start a podcast, and then another question may be like, what is the best equipment for starting a podcast? Or can I start a podcast for free? Or things like that. So, like, those questions will also be included in the blog post at the end. So if are people are searching for those questions, right? Then the answer will be there, and then that blog post will be suggested when people are searching for those questions. Make sure that your website is clear on who you are, who you help, and how you help them, right? So when you go into HeidyDeLaCruz.com, the first thing you see is on the left-hand side, it says my name, Heidy de la Cruz. I'm a podcast coach. You see my picture, and then it says podcast launching program that gets Latinas launched in 6 weeks. So, my podcast is called Podcasting for Latina CEOs. So who do I help? Latinas. And what do I help them with? Launching a podcast. Right. So making sure that your website clearly states who you are, who do you help, and how do you help them. Now, just because the podcast and my website, specifically says Latinas, it does not mean that I don't help other people. Like, I have clients who are not Latinas. I have listeners who are not Latinas. And honestly, like, starting a podcast is the same steps, is the same way, regardless of your ethnicity, regardless of your nationality, regardless of your race. It doesn't matter. Like, the steps are the same. Now, I say I help Latinas because I'm a Latina, right? And I definitely want to help my community launch podcasts and share their stories. And I want to be that representation for Latinas, right? So it's like, if I'm doing it as a Latina, why can't you? So that is specifically why my podcast and my website states for Latinas, but that doesn't mean that I don't help other women. Like, I do. Like, I don't discriminate, and we don't do that here. Help women, but I want to be that representation for Latinas because, again, we have, yeah, I don't want to get into like, all the background and all of that, but just know that like when someone sees someone that looks like them doing what they want to do, it like in their brain and like it changes, like it shows them that like that is possible. And that is why I emphasize the Latinas, because it's like if I'm doing it, you can do it too, especially if you're Latina. Okay. What is another thing, another update for SEO? Since I have ads on my blog for HeidyDelaCruz.com, my SEO specialist mentioned that she actually limits how many pictures are on the website or are on the blog post. I'm sorry. She said that she tries to just keep it to one or two graphics or images because since there's already ads on the blog, we don't want to overwhelm the readers. And we also got to make sure and keep in mind the user experience, right? We want to make sure that the user experience is still good. Okay. Another thing that we need to make sure that are on the blog posts are adding data and citations from other websites, right? So remember, in episode 7, I go into like backlinks and internal links, right? Internal links is adding links to other articles that you have written within your website. And then there's also the outside links, right? That are backlinks. So either you writing a article on another website and then they are linking your website from their website, your website from their website, backlink. But then also we want to make sure that we are using data and citations and sources from other websites as well, because that strengthens your credibility. All right, making sure that your homepage is simplified, your call to action. So, like, have one primary call to action on your website. So, do you want them to book a call? Do you want them to email you? Do you want them to sign up for your newsletter? Like, making sure that there is one clear call to action for when they land on your website. All right. And that is the updates that I have learned in regards to SEO and getting the AI tools to recommend your website and strengthen your blog posts so that they rank on the first page of Google. If you have any questions, you can always use the send us a text function that is in the show notes, thanks to Buzzsprout. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. Until the next episode, con mucho amor, Coach Heidi.
Thank you for listening to Mami Podcast.